What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of JY Throws, and I wanted to talk today a little bit about recruiting and some things that you should think about when you're trying to decide on a coach and a school to go to. So the first thing, and arguably one of the most important things, I think, is trying to find a school with good training partners. I had a video like last week or a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, talking about the importance of training partners, and I think it's one of the most important things. Because when you have someone that can help push you to get stronger, to be better technically, to just progress quicker and better than you ever would have if you didn't have someone to train with, I think that's one of the most important things when you're trying to decide a school. So secondly, and pretty much equally important, is coaching, obviously. And not everyone can go to every school that they want to go to because there's simply not enough scholarships for that to happen, or maybe you don't have the numbers that you need to get to the school you want to go to. So that's why I say that a training partner is one of the most important things. But other than that, there's a few good coaches in the NCAA, and one of the most crucial things to look out for is the numbers of their athletes that they have right now or have had in the past. And I think that's the best way to track who's a good coach, simply based on results. And you can hear a coach is good from the athletes or from reading something online, but a lot of those are kind of like biased because there'll be people who are friends with that coach that say they're a good person, and they say that that makes them a good coach. Or they've got a very gifted athlete that they really didn't help get much better, but because they have such a good athlete, it looks like they're a good coach. So I think the most guaranteed way to find a good coach is looking at the results of their throwers in the present and past, and looking at what that athlete did in high school compared to what they did in college. And if you, I would say like a pretty good translation coming from high school to college of a really good coach is they'll throw just about as far in their first year of college as they did in high school. Now, if they're throwing really far in high school, then it's going to be harder with the 16, so the numbers won't be different. But I think by the end of college, if they've got up to the same number or better than they did when they were in high school, that's also going to be a pretty good sign of a good coach. And yeah, it's just, it's pretty easy to find online. Like, it's so easy. You can type in like any athlete's name and pull up a profile of what they did in high school, what they did in college. You can look on different websites to see and track their numbers that they've had throughout the years. It's really easy to find. So if you do a little bit of research, you can figure that out. But I would say keep in mind, if you've got a 70-plus foot shot putter in high school that comes into college and throws 65 feet. Like, 65 feet looks far in college, but they're a 70-foot shot putter. And I think once you're a 70-foot shot putter, as long as you're a solid size, you should be able to throw pretty far in college. And 65 feet's far, but it's not anything super ridiculous. So just keep those numbers in mind, and looking at numbers is going to be your best way to find a good coach. Now, another good thing to look at when recruiting is the coach's personality. And it's really tough to gauge a coach's personality based on a recruiting trip because they're going to be on their best behavior, they're going to be a lot of fun, they're going to be joking around, and they're going to kind of be bullshitting. So how they act on a recruiting trip is a little bit skewed of how they really are, but you can still get a pretty good sense of how they are as a human being based on just talking to them, and definitely pick that up. And I would say a good thing to do is try to talk to the athletes and just have like a moment with them, be like, real talk, what are they like as a human? Like, are they a good coach? And honestly, if the coach really wants you, he's already told the athletes to do whatever they can to get you. So they might lie a little bit, they might bullshit you a little bit. So it's kind of tough to even ask a person, but if you know someone that's graduated already, or even another coach who's like friends with them that is a good person, like, you might be able to get a good response from them. Really tough to say, but I just try to look for a coach with a good personality, and it's going to be a little bit skewed on a recruiting trip, like I was saying. And when you first come to college, the transition from high school to college is really difficult. If you've never partied or done anything before, it's so easy to go out to parties and get lost in that. So to have a coach that can help you be a better person and help make sure that they stay on top of you so you don't get carried away going to parties and start to mess up your life. But then a coach that doesn't get angry at that right away. So I know at Arizona, when I was there my first 2 years, the coach constantly got so involved in our personal life that I would post a picture of me going out with my friends on a weekend night, And Monday in practice, he would take it out on me because he saw a picture of me going out rather than staying in and doing nothing. And I think that's an unreasonable request. And obviously, when you're in college, you want to have a bit of fun. And don't get carried away with it. Don't get so drunk that you pass out and do something stupid or get in a fight, get arrested, anything like that. So a coach to care what you're doing is important, but a coach who's going to get so involved in your personal life that they start to take it out on you is really difficult. So finding a coach with a good personality that will work with you and is accepting is very important, but also very difficult to do. So I will say, when I came to Virginia, I couldn't have got much more lucky. And I talked to another coach in the country and asked what he thought about Martin when I was looking at coming here. And he said that Martin was one of his favorite, if not his favorite person in the world. And on top of that, one of the most underrated rotational coaches in the country. Hearing that from a coach who I trusted and respected was one of the nicest things I could have heard. And it's really one of the main reasons that I came to UVA. And one of the reasons that I'm as happy as I am now, and like so happy with my decision to come here. And Martin's such a phenomenal human being and a great coach. Will help work with you, help work with your training program. So I think another really important thing to look out for when you're trying to decide on a coach, and asking the coach may be a good way to get to this, but it's asking about lifting. And each athlete is so individual, and no matter who you are, and ask how open he is about tweaking their lifting program based on athletes' individual needs. It's a really good thing to ask. And the coach, I feel like, if they're smart, will just be like, oh, no problem. Like, you can change up your lifting program if whatever works for you. And like, obviously we've got like a base of what you need to be doing. But if you want to add some things or change a couple things here and there, then that would be great. And hopefully coaches do that, and hopefully all coaches are open to that. But I know there's definitely some coaches that aren't. I got a friend who is having issues with the coach, who they don't want to change the lifting program, and anytime he asks to change something, it's a whole big issue. So really important to look for that. And after a few years of lifting, you start to learn your body and what works for you. So it's so important to have a coach that's willing to adapt training styles to the individual athlete. So to look out for that by either asking the coach or talking to the athletes about how he is, or he or she is, with changing the lifting program to work for you is going to be a very crucial decision. So another thing I think you want to look out for if you're trying to decide on a school would be the team's ability to get you implements and things that you need for training. I know I was looking at going to Kentucky when I was there. They're like, oh yeah, whatever you need, we can get that for you. And SEC schools have a lot of money, so they were like, if you need a weight, if you need a dominator weight, which whatever X thousands of dollars they cost, we'll get you that. If you need a 80-meter javelin because you're going to be an 80-meter javelin thrower, we'll get you an 80-meter javelin, which is, again, like probably $1,000 or more. So a school's ability to get that is important, and it doesn't need to be in quite that level, but if you've got a preferred discus that you like, if it's, say you like purple flyers, if the school can help you get a purple flyer because that's a disc that you like to throw or threw in high school, something like that, then it's definitely good to look out for that and try to ask those questions and see if that's a possibility when you're trying to decide. All right, so lastly, I just want to talk a little bit about some coaches that I think are good coaches. And I mean, you can go and look up their throwers' numbers and results yourself and decide for yourself. But yeah, anyway, so here's a list of some guys that I think are good. I think John Smith is good, Jerry Clayton, Dave Woolman, Martin Merrick, Lucas McKay, also John Newell, Don Babbitt, Dave Dumble, and Blue Trick at Arizona State. So all those coaches I think are guys that I think personally are really good coaches that can help get some big results. So check them out for yourself. If you're looking at throwing, I can't speak for any other coaches in any other event groups, but for at least throwing, those are some great coaches and people to look out for. But I guess that's it for today. I just wanted to get a little bit out about recruiting and some thoughts to think about when you're looking at either going to a school or transferring or whatever it may be. So thank you very much for being here. If you made it to the end of this video, I hope that you have the best day ever. I will see you guys in the next video, but until then, take it easy and go far.